Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is our second session or session 2 on the topic transnational organized crime in Papua New Guinea. So we started with the first 3 groups, Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and we heard from the representatives and they shared with us the answers to the questions that were assigned. Now we will continue on with the 4 remaining groups. We'll start off with group 5 and then go to group 4 and group 7. So we have three groups presenting this morning. So without further delay, I hand over the virtual microphone to group 5, represented by Grace and Simone. Please go ahead, Grace.
Wait on. Okay, good morning, everyone. Our presentation will be on the transnational crimes in PNG. What are you looking at there? Okay, so we'll begin. Our question is, the index discusses the influence of organized criminal networks in undermining state stability. So I will answer the question, how does Yegiора's concept of blue security addresses the challenges posed by criminal networks operating in PNG's EEZ, while Simon talks about the regional cooperation and its role playing in mitigating these threats. We move on. So according to Yegiora 2024, the conceptualization of blue security as separate from traditional national security domains has only recently emerged in PNG. So Yegiora's concept of blue security is about protecting a country's ocean space, especially its EEZ, from all illegal and harmful activities. So here, PNG, our ocean is valuable, but it is poorly monitored, making it a very easy target for criminal networks to occur. So Yegiора's concept of blue security addresses the challenges posed by criminal networks operating in the EEZ of PNG by proposing a comprehensive approach. So in his writing, he used the case study of Budi Budi, a day fisherman hauled in 50 million worth of cocaine. So this case study strengthens the approaches. So in 2019, a fisherman in PNG went out hunting for shark, but instead of coming home with fish to feed his family, he returned with an unexpected catch, which is the 50 million worth of cocaine. So, yep. Firstly, Yegiора's blue security concept emphasizes the need to protect PNG's vast resource EEZ, which is increasingly exploited by transnational criminal networks for activities such as drug smuggling. Secondly, the concept highlights the importance of improving maritime domain awareness. So this involves strengthening aerial surveillance, intelligence gathering, and information sharing system, so authorities can detect and respond to illegal activities in real time. Thirdly, the concept calls for stronger maritime law enforcement. So PNG, we need more patrols, we need better resourced police and naval forces, and a stronger presence in remote maritime areas to respond effectively to intelligence and detect criminal activities. Fourthly, blue security promotes regional cooperation with neighboring states such as Australia and Solomon Islands. So since our criminal network operates across borders, our collaboration through shared intelligence, joint operations, and partnership is very important to close enforcement gaps. So finally, it incorporates environmental and humanitarian considerations, recognizing that criminal activities can also damage marine ecosystems and threaten maritime safety. Thank you. I'll hand it over to Simone.
Okay, like Grace said, Yegiora's concept of blue security focuses on protecting Papua New Guinea's ocean space as an important part of national security. So the role of regional cooperation. Yegiora stresses that blue security cannot succeed without regional partnerships because maritime crime is global. Therefore, there are three ways that regional cooperation benefits. The three benefits of regional cooperation that we have identified. First is joint surveillance. It emphasizes protecting the EEZ by increasing patrols and monitoring to stop illegal activities. So PNG works with partners such as Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific neighbors to conduct joint patrols, share intelligence on criminal networks, improve monitoring coverage of the EEZ, according to Yegiora 2024. This is important given PNG's limited resources relative to the size of its waters. Next, information sharing and capacity building. This strengthens law enforcement coordination between agencies like the Navy, police, and fisheries to better detect and respond to crime. Regional cooperation enables exchange of real-time maritime intelligence, training and technical support, and access to advanced surveillance technologies. And thirdly, collective security approach. It improves maritime awareness, meaning PNG needs better information and surveillance systems to know what is happening at sea. Criminal networks operate across borders, example, moving drugs or what Gracie said about the Buri bust. No single state can manage this alone. Regional frameworks help close gaps between jurisdictions. So we think that, or we have concluded that Yegiora frames this as being a good maritime neighbor where cooperation strengthens both national and regional stability. So overall, to conclude, Yegiora's concept of blue security focuses on protecting Papua New Guinea's ocean space as an important part of national security, which is important because organized criminal networks use PNG's large and weekly monitored waters for illegal activities like drug trafficking, smuggling, and illegal fishing. The blue security concept by Yegiora also provides a strategic, united response to criminal networks in PNG's EEZ by combining maritime protection, stronger execution, and improved awareness. Regional cooperation plays a critical role by compensating for PNG's capacity limitations and addressing the transnational nature of maritime crime, making it essential for long-term security and stability. Thank you, and this is the end of our presentation. These are our references.
All right, thank you, Grace, and thank you, Simone, for representing your group and for sharing with us your answer to the question. We now move on to Marshall and Tanya, who will be representing Group 4. Marshall and Tanya, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again, Mr. Yegiora and my fellow classmates. Tanya and I will be representing group number 4 to do our presentation on the statement and questions that we are tasked to present on. So yeah, the statement and the question says the index identifies non-renewable resource crimes and illegal fishing as significant challenges. How do these activities threaten PNG's security as highlighted by Yegiora, and what strategies can be implemented to protect marine resources from the transnational criminal networks? So before we move on to present our answer the question. I'll just give a brief overview of our statement and question, and then Tanya will answer the question. So yeah, Papua New Guinea's blue security is a strategic approach that aims at addressing maritime-related crimes like illegal and unregulated fishing, drug smuggling, human trafficking via ocean route, non-renewable resource crimes, and so forth. With the ongoing transition and advancement of technologies, it is very difficult for Papua New Guinea alone to protect itself from well-organized transnational crimes. Therefore, it needs to engage in regional cooperation through bilateral and multilateral agreements to help combat these crimes. Non-renewable resource crimes and illegal fishing here in Papua New Guinea pose the greatest challenge to the blue security, since most illegal extraction and unregulated fishing occur without the government's authorization or knowledge of. Thus, the responsible authorities, such as the National Fisheries Authority, NFA, the PNGDF Maritime Team, and the RPNGC Maritime Division, are understaffed and lack sufficient equipment and logistical supplies to counter these threats. Therefore, most of the non-renewable resource crimes and illegal fishing, together with the other crimes, were left unattended. Thank you very much, and I leave the virtual mic to Tanya to answer the question.
Thank you, Marshall. So moving on to answering the question, since the index identifies non-renewable resource crimes and illegal fishing as significant challenges, how does these activities threaten PNG's blue security as highlighted? These activities pose as a significant challenge due to the fact that the blue security interests and prioritizes the use of policies and plans to help with the governance and management of the marine domains. However, given that the index identifies non-renewable resource crimes and illegal fishing as a significant challenge, due to these activities slowly increasing over time, which then has led to perplexing the capacity and capability of defense cooperation programs, intelligence training workshops, technology, transfer arrangements, infrastructure projects, academic exchanges, and secondment programs as highlighted in the Yegiora files to secure and protect our marine domains. The most important legislation that highlights blue security interests and priorities is the Marine Zones Act. It incorporated provisions of the United Nations Law of the Seas and was passed by Parliament in 2015 with the support of other vital legislation as well to help provide the framework to govern its marine domain, including the formalization of the National Security Policy 2013 that helps in highlighting and prioritizing areas to address the two activities mentioned in the policy, such as lack of border control, natural disasters and climate change, small arms and light weapons trafficking and proliferation, illegal poaching of resources, and others. The strategies that can be used to address these issues are highlighted in the Yegiora files, such as enhancing the country's marine domain awareness to enable it to govern its maritime jurisdiction, strengthening the country's maritime law enforcement, promoting regional cooperation, and help boost and invest in the Department of defense, and the PNGDF to enhance its capability and capacity. Thank you, and this is the end of our presentation.
Thank you very much, Tanya and Marshall, for representing your group. We now move on to the final group, Group 7, and the representative is Mata. Mata, the virtual microphone is yours.
Representing Group 7, I will be presenting on the topic resilience and maritime security in PNG. The central question we are addressing is how does Yegiora's emphasis on improving PNG's maritime law enforcement capacity align with the need to build institutional resilience to deter organized crime in maritime zones? So over the next few slides, I will explain how the Global Organized Crime Index highlights resilience as a key principle and how Yegiora's proposals operationalize that principle in the specific context of PNG's maritime security. So the Global Organized Crime Index stresses that resilience is essential for combating transnational crime. Resilience means institutions must not only react to threats, but also anticipate them, adapt to changing conditions, and deter organized networks before they gain a foothold. So Yegiora's work on PNG's maritime security focuses on strengthening law enforcement capacity in the maritime domain. This includes patrols, surveillance, interagency cooperation, and regional partnerships. In this presentation, I will show how his emphasis on maritime law enforcement directly reflects the index's call for resilience and how it helps PNG build stronger institutions to deter organized crime in its maritime zones. All right, first, looking at the institutional resilience, Yegiora 2024 argues that PNG must strengthen its patrols and surveillance capacity to monitor its vast maritime domain. He also highlights the importance of improving maritime domain awareness, essentially knowing what is happening in PNG's waters at all times. Finally, he stresses interagency cooperation between PNG Defense Force and the Royal PNG Constabulary. These measures build institutional robustness, meaning PNG's institutions become stronger, more capable, and less vulnerable to organized crime. This directly aligns with the Global Organization Crime Index's principle that resilient institutions are the foundation for deterring transnational crime. By closing gaps in patrol coverage and improving coordination, PNG reduces the opportunities for organized crime groups to exploit weak enforcement. Second, Yegiora emphasizes collaborative resilience. He points out that PNG cannot address maritime crime alone, given the scale of its maritime zones and the sophistication of countries like Australia and the United States. These partnerships provide intelligence sharing, joint patrols, and technology transfer. This collaboration strengthens PNG's enforcement capacity and ensures that organized crime groups face coordinated resistance across borders. The Global Organized Crime Index also highlights that resilience requires collective network institutions. Yegiora's proposals align perfectly with this recommendation, showing that PNG's resilience depends not only on its own institutions, but also on its ability to work with regional and global partners. Thirdly, Yegiora 2024 stresses strategic resilience. He argues that maritime law enforcement must be embedded within PNG's national security policy. This ensures that maritime security is not treated as an isolated issue, but as a part of broader national security framework. Embedding maritime enforcement in policy shifts PNG's posture from a reactive enforcement where, responding only comes after crimes occur, to a proactive deterrence where institutions anticipate and prevent crime before it happens. So this approach addresses key threats such as illicit trafficking, illegal fishing, and smuggling. It also ensures that PNG's maritime security institutions are forward-looking and adaptable, which is exactly what the Global Organization Crime Index means by resilience. So by linking maritime enforcement to national policy, PNG builds a strategic foundation that makes its institutions more resilient to organized crimes. In conclusion, Yegiora's emphasis on improving PNG's maritime law enforcement capacity aligns directly with the Global Organized Crime Index's principle of resilience. His proposals strengthen institutions through patrols and surveillance, build collaborative resilience through regional partnerships, and embed strategic resilience by linking enforcement to national policy. So together, these measures operationalize resilience in PNG's maritime security. They transform PNG's institutions from reactive to proactive, ensuring that organized crime is deterred in maritime zones. This alignment is crucial for safeguarding PNG's sovereignty and promoting stability in the wider Indo-Pacific region. Yegiora 2024's work shows how resilience theory can be applied in practice to address real security challenges. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Group 7, and thank you, Martha, for representing your group and sharing with us your answer to the question. We also thank Marcel and Tanya, including Simone and Grace as well, for sharing with us answers to your assigned questions. And if you have any questions, comments, you can share in the discussion forum for this week. So that brings us to the end of our seminar 9. And the second session, we had 2 sessions. The first one, session 1, and this is session 2. So we'll end here. And once again, thank you everyone for sharing with us your answers to the questions. And just before you go, I want to leave you with this critical point. If you look at the discussion so far, it's based on PNG, but if you compare PNG with Fiji, you see Fiji is a small country and the maritime domain is smaller compared to PNG. And they are struggling to address the issue of drug smuggling from America and Latin American countries. So imagine Fiji or imagine PNG, our maritime domain is much bigger than Fiji, and the challenges that we face. We have a lot of things to do in order to prepare ourselves to address blue crimes like IUU fishing and other transnational crimes where they use our maritime domain as transit routes for smuggling people, logs, and ammunitions and all that. So it's a big challenge to the government and to our state security institutions like the PNGDF